Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. My Thanks, one of the shows that helps forge my opinion on anime as a whole, as well as shaping a good part of my humor. Is This a Zombie was one of the first anime I watched when I started getting into the medium, and ever since, it's stuck with me as this glorious mess of a fantastical LSD trip that hooked me right into the art. And this is an especially important show for me because without it, I may not have been here right now to talk about it. By no means is it great or even good, but it heavily influenced my pathway in walking along this unexpected journey. I want to say it's a show that's so bad it's good, but I honestly think it's good. The characters, the comedy, the off-brand strange concept that gives Japan's perceived identity as weird, is a legitimately fun show. Not gimmicky relying on one consistent joke, but instead bringing about an odd atmosphere and mixing the bizarre with the satirical. Ayumu Aikwa is dead, murdered in fact. He is revived by the mute armor-wearing necromancer Euclid Hellscythe and lives on now as a zombie. He still has his personality and his memories from when he was alive, but now he's a zombie who can't walk in the sun. Not a problem so far, until he runs into a demon from hell trying to kill him in search for the incredible magical source that is Zu. Aimu runs into a chainsaw-wielding magical girl named Haruna, whose mission it is to kill these demons. However, when Aimu grabs a chainsaw, her powers transfer to him, making him a magical girl, even though he stays as male. Essentially, he cross-dresses. By the way, the chainsaw also talks. But that's not all. Aside from being dead, and the newly appointed magical garment girl, he hosts Euclid and Haruna in his house, along with Seraphim, a voluptuous vampire ninja chick sent to protect you who's more soon than Dere, who hates his magic-filled guts. So yes, Ayumu Aikwa is an undead cross-dressing magical girl with a harem of extreme personalities who has to balance the school life with hiding the fact that he's any of these things, while also searching for his killer and fighting hell's animal demons with a magical talking chainsaw. And no, I have no idea who smoked what to come up with this. With so much going on, you think that this is an overcomplicated mess. And yeah, it kind of is. But the show is also surprisingly mellow in how it introduces these elements, like bringing them up in a casual conversation. I think it has to do with the attitude and the nonchalant approach in the weird, embracing the bizarre from a too tired to give two flying fucks viewpoint. However, the show itself is a bombastic epitome of the signature Japanese weirdness. Yeah, when the West thinks of all things weird in Japan, this is a highlight reel. The situation itself is just so bizarre, yet approached so casually you can't help but feel the disjointed tones are fucking with your own sensibilities, and that's why it's so funny. I love this show because of its off-the-wall comedy and timing, which either deals with Ayumu's close insanity in his insane world, or the other three's over-the-top quirks that drive him to the breaking point. Ayumu himself is not your average harem protagonist. He's a sardonic jackass who drifts through life like it's a stroll in the park, with a bear following him. He's like Kyon from Haruhi with the look of, I don't know, Kenny from South Park. He's just a genuinely sarcastic nihilist who also cares about his image to the extent of not wanting people to see him in the dress. Euclid, or Yu, is silent, yet conveys so much emotion through her writing and body language. She has a definite personality, and her relationship with Ayumu is actually pretty well developed. There's never a moment where it feels hammy. They really care for each other and share that odd but charming bond of two people just hanging out with each other. The other characters are stunningly weird. Haruna is a loudmouthed genius with the social skills of a company-wide email meant for private use. Sarah is a nasty, harsh woman who has no qualms with insulting others, especially Ayumu. Orito is the weird, pervy best friend with the tact of a Playboy magazine, and generally, the other supporting characters follow suit in the widely spun caricature game this show loves playing. The comedy, I cannot stress enough, is just too good. Relying on the weird situation, environment, characters, and general momentum the show has with poking fun at magical girls, harems, outlandish personalities, and inconsistent plot writing to astoundingly satirize all of the strange stuff that comes out of Japan. Now, there definitely are problems with the show. Major problems. The most prominent is the story structure. The series fluctuates between episodic tales like going to an indoor beach, or it takes numerous detours like setting up the cultural festival during a pivotal time in the plot. And yes, that's an issue as it conveys how impromptu and unprepared the writers are. Don't get me wrong, the episodes themselves are very entertaining, but track off their points as well. Both the music and the animation aren't all that good either. I certainly enjoy them respectively, but they don't stand out in the insanity of the show. Even the fanservice is low-key poor in quality, isn't that weird? The arcs also don't really end all that strongly either, sometimes disappointingly leading up to an epic climax that results in a quiet sudden finale, as if the emotion of the scene is supposed to sink in, but instead you're only left confused and feeling misled. Now, does this mean Is This a Zombie is a failure? Of course not. I'd even argue it makes his identity stronger, staying weird until the bitter end. The show's just an absolute blast, even if it has huge flaws. I thought I'd be blinded by nostalgia, but honestly, the show still holds up as a strange twist of the unconventional. I'd say it's not for everyone, which is true, but I still recommend watching it. Even I, who was starting out in watching anime, understood how parodying the show is, and I laughed my ass off at the George confirmation of Japan's oddball creations, and that's why it's still a strong point of my anime life. Is This a Zombie is simple, crazy, satirical fun. It's by no means a masterpiece, but to me personally, it's a damn well great WTF anime with hilarious characters, hilarious jokes, hilarious situations, and hilarious slapstick. It's a somewhat guilty pleasure, but I would honestly recommend this for anyone who's willing to try out the weird show. Is This a Zombie is just entertaining, and even though it may sound biased, it's a huge staple for me in how I got into anime, and one of my favorite comedies to boot. Check it out if you want a wild ride from start to finish, and have a great Thanksgiving.